Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie. I wanted to discuss about how diet and lifestyle can help reduce the risk of cancer. In fact, through a healthy lifestyle, you can cut the risk of cancer by as much as a third. So it's really important. Also, for people who have suffered from cancer, then the chance of it coming back again can also be significantly reduced by eating healthily, by exercising regularly, by drinking plenty of water, and especially by not smoking. So one really important message is that you want to try and be a healthy weight. I have this demonstration here. This represents 5 pounds of fat. And if this is round your midriff, that is putting you at risk. Losing weight is not so easy, but there are some strategies that can help. One is cutting down the sugar in your diet. So for example, if you have sugar in your tea or coffee, trying to stop this. Maybe halving the amount you have, maybe using sweeteners, gradually trying to stop using added sugar if possible. Things like fruit juices are high in sugar, about 4 teaspoons in a cup, and a can of cola, for example, has about 8 teaspoons per can. And a lot of processed foods like tin soup or bought sauces have got added sugar, so just trying to be cautious with those things. Having more fibre in the diet is very helpful, and that can be, for example, having wholemeal rather than white bread, having brown rice instead of white, maybe adding lentils or beans to rice. So that also can help losing weight. Cutting down portion sizes for starchy carbs like bread, pasta, rice, that's also really effective. And there's something else called intermittent fasting. So you may have heard, for example, about the 5-2 diet or 2-day diet. These can be accessed through books or on the internet, but it can be really helpful with weight loss and with reducing risk of cancer. In addition, there's something called time-restricted eating, which means you have a long gap between your evening meal and your breakfast, maybe having supper at around 6-7 o'clock at night, no evening snack, and then a slightly late breakfast. And this can also really help when you're trying to lose weight. So there are some good foods that you can have to try to cut the risk of cancer. You want lots of fruit and vegetables, which will give you plenty of vitamins and antioxidants. So especially to have a range of colours, your orange and yellow veg, carrots, yellow peppers, for example, apricots, red and purple coloured fruit and veg, really high in antioxidants. And you want plenty of greens as well. Other sources of antioxidants include green tea and the very dark chocolate, 70% plus or so, and grapes and peanuts, in fact. So moving on, there's a kind of veg that is really helpful against cancer in helping to prevent it. And this is the cabbage family, or cruciferous vegetables as they're known, and obviously including cabbage, but also cauliflower. Got some broccoli here. Radishes are surprisingly in the same family, and rocket, and they all have cancer fighting properties, so well worth including in your diet. Going back to fibre, that that is helpful of its own right. And as I said, whole grains, wholemeal bread, oatcakes are a good source too, and flaxseed. So a lot of supermarkets sell ground flaxseed, and that's going to help with prevention of cancer as well. A lot of you have heard about vitamin D recently in the context of helping for prevention of coronavirus. Vitamin D also has an effect in reducing risk of cancer. In the summer, getting out of doors, getting a bit of sun on your skin, that can be helpful, though obviously be careful not to allow any sunburn and use sunblock. But getting about 15 to 30 minutes a day, if you can, of sunlight can be protective. And there are foods that are good sources of vitamin D, including eggs and oily fish. I also quickly wanted to mention healthy fats, so things like olive oil and cold-pressed rapeseed oil are good and protective. And I've got an avocado here. The oil in avocados is really fantastic too. So we've talked about what's good and we've talked a little about what's bad, but just going over that side of things. As I've said, you want to reduce sugar. You also want to try and reduce alcohol as much as possible. And you want to ideally cut down on processed foods, so packaged foods, in other words, things like margarine and crisps and frozen chips. The more fresh fruit and veg and homemade food, the better. And when you are cooking, try not to use too much salt. This time of year, some people barbecue, and that can be delicious, but too much char-grilled meat can be an issue. So if you barbecue, try and have an assortment of foods, maybe try fish or barbecued vegetables for a change, or just make a barbecue an occasional treat. And also try not to overcook your meat and veg. You don't want them blackened because the charcoal itself can be damaging. So just to go over and brief what I've been saying, you want really to have less sugar, plenty of fresh fruit and vegetables, especially the cabbage family vegetables, so fantastic. To exercise regularly and to not have excess alcohol, and ideally not to smoke too. Thank you so much for listening today.